It's a difficult story to tell in that it features lots of contributors. It features a system that is fairly hard to explain anyway, especially in virtual reality. Invisible is a virtual reality documentary about the immigration detention system in the UK, and specifically focusing on indefinite detention. We decided quite early on that we were going to try and divide the film into 3 acts. The first being going into detention, the second, what's it like in detention, and then the third act being, once you're out of detention, how's your life then? And actually the trauma of being in detention and your freedom is still not gained, even when you're not within the walls of a detention centre.
The main creative challenges to the film were how do we tell a story within a documentary where we have no access to our main location and very limited access to our contributors.
So what we were thinking was we'd have the brother 100% dressed.
We had to approach the film in a more unusual way for a documentary, using sort of abstract reconstruction and metaphorical portrayal.
It's like climbing a mountain, looking at all the forms and procedure you have to go through is quite heartbreaking.
We hired a location of a decommissioned prison in Gloucester. That was kind of the playground for the majority of the scenes to take place. Our approach to casting and art department and costume was that we, instead of trying to be intensely realistic, we were offering a more sort of metaphorical space for our audience to explore and have their own subjective opinion.
In Uganda, I was arrested, I was tortured, so it was just by luck that I left the country.
Each scene has a different sort of creative and technical approach to how we do it, and for us that was kind of a big experimentation in terms of what we were trying to do with 360 video. We have a contributor who's actually in a detention centre, and the challenge was, well, we only have a recording of his voice. How do we show the essence of that person within a virtual world?
We took a clean plate from the prison shoot, which was of an empty, disused cell, and we wanted to create the impression that the world and cell is disintegrating around you, and you end up in this otherworldly underwater environment.
When a human being has been stripped of rights to family, rights to freedom, rights to expression, then you're no longer a human being.
Our VFX artist came up with a really unique way of visualizing speech. We built a bespoke VR engine within Unity, which, when Ray's speech was fed into it, the result is what you see on screen.
You know, you feel like you want to scream, you feel like you want to shout, you feel like you're going to die.
One of the big scenes involved a stunt which we hadn't done before, which involved a stunt performer who was set on fire, and we used some interesting techniques to kind of render that scene.
Take a breath. Go. Action. Breath.
You can watch this film for a few minutes and already understand that this is one of the gravest human rights, civil liberty issues in the UK today. This film really drops you in to what it means to be the person front and center in that kind of a space. Freed Voices members themselves, either who contributed to the film or experienced detention firsthand, a lot of them have come out and they've said, that feels so familiar. It brings me back to a certain place, but the overriding message, which is one of like, we've got to fight, we're going to continue, we're not going to let this define us, is also worn on people's faces when they kind of step out of that experience. Change is urgent. I really hope and believe that this film can be part of moving that process along as quickly as possible.
I think it's a film about resilience and survival. These people that have come to this country have gone through so much already, much of it traumatic. The detention system plays another part in their lives, but it's not something that defines them. It's something that they are fighting against, and I feel that the film sort of ends with a real sort of hopeful conclusion in that people are protesting, people are speaking out against this system, and they're going to make their voices heard.